Have you ever played the elementary school game called Telephone? You know, the game where at the start a person is told a message and then it goes through a line of people, only for the last person to receive the message to find out it's different from what was initially told? Well, this can be applied to urban legends. The Webster's Dictionary says an urban legend is often a lurid story or anecdote that is based on hearsay and widely circulated as true. While yes, most would agree urban legends are just passed down, made up stories, but there are indeed some urban legends with a hint of truth to them, and those are what we're going to share with you today. I'm Neima Ash, and this is Unexplained Possibilities, 6 urban legends based off real incidents. As kids, and even now as adults, when we're alone in a house, it can feel creepy. Sometimes our imaginations get the better of us, especially when the house starts to make odd noises you can't quite explain. Now, what if those noises were actually coming from someone? Someone living in your home and you were totally unaware of it. Impossible, you say? Well, let's go back to the year 1922 in Germany, where farmer Andreas Gruber noticed a few odd things happening around him. Items were going missing or were misplaced, and his family started hearing unexplained footsteps in the attic. And Andreas even found footprints around in the house not belonging to him or his family. In March of 1922, Andreas, his wife, his 2 kids, and even the housemaid were brutally murdered. The murder weapon was a mattock. Their bodies were discovered 4 days later. Interestingly enough, between the time of the murder and the bodies being found, someone had been caring for the farm animals. The killer was never caught. So if you hear strange noises in your house, especially if you have an attic, don't dismiss it as nothing. You might be playing host to a killer in your attic. There are several ways to keep a man under control. The 2 most popular being offering a person money and instilling fear. In this case, we're going over the latter. The night doctors, sometimes known as the night riders, were used as boogeymen to keep slaves in check in the USA. The legend says doctors would roam the streets at night, searching for people to kidnap and experiment on. There actually is evidence of doctors experimenting on people without consent in the 19th century, especially those who were people of color. Stories of the night doctors were spread by slave owners to put fear into their slaves and to keep them from running away. Slave owners even donned white outfits to resemble ghosts and would ride around at night. This scare tactic would later be used by the KKK. This is sadly one of those true stories that would have been better off staying a legend. This is a classic legend that most people know. A couple, usually a teen couple in a remote location or overlook, are making out in a car when a breaking news report interrupts the music coming from the radio. The report says that a killer with a hook for a hand has broken out of prison or a mental institution and is on the loose. Sometimes the report will give a warning to go home, stay indoors, and call the police if you see anything suspicious. The couple, being madly in love, tend to ignore the report, and like clockwork, the hookman shows up. A noise is made outside, and it's usually the male who goes out to investigate, leaving the female by her lonesome. Splitting up and slasher stories never end well, and the teen lovebirds find this out the hard way. The hookman claims his victims and vanishes into the night. There are countless movies based off this legend, but what you don't know is that this legend has some truth behind it. This legend is based off the Texarkana Moonlight Murders, which took place in the year 1946 in Texarkana, Texas. The killer, who they called the Phantom Killer, would find his victims on a deserted road known as Lover's Lane. He would approach them in their car, blinding them with a flashlight, and then attack them. The Phantom Killer attacked 8 people, murdering 5 out of the 8. He was never caught, so if you want to spend some time with that special someone who gives you that itch only they can scratch, then do yourself a favor. Don't go down to Lover's Lane. Instead, get a hotel like every other decent perv. By now, we all know that Big Brother is watching. Heck, most people have accepted this as a necessary evil of the internet age. However, what if Big Brother has been spying a lot longer than the last decade of this internet age? Enter the Polybus urban legend. The Polybus arcade game was housed in Portland, Oregon. It's said that the game was a psychological experiment run by the US government. Gameplay would produce psychoactive and addictive effects to whoever played. The machines were even visited by Men in Black to collect data from the arcade machine and analyze the effects as well as information on the players. It's said people who played Polybus would go on to suffer from amnesia, insomnia, night terrors, and hallucinations. It's not entirely clear when this legend began, but some of its origins can be found in some coincidental incidents. Two players fell ill in Portland on the same day in 1981, with one of the players collapsing with a migraine headache after playing Tempest. The other player had stomach pain after playing Asteroids for 28 hours straight, trying to beat a world record at the same arcade. In the following 10 days, FBI would raid several arcades in the Portland area, due to the belief that owners were using the machines for gambling purposes. Before the raids, the FBI would examine the arcade machines for signs of tampering and messing with high scores. Even more shocking is these events are part of the plot to the cult hit The Last Starfighter, where an arcade machine was being monitored by aliens for someone who can beat the high score so they could recruit them for their cause. Now with everything going online, you can be sure there's someone watching and monitoring your every click. After all, how else can you explain those ads that seem tailored to you? In Switzerland's Mouse Forest, a mysterious figure would roam the land. Much like the American Bigfoot, people would get a glimpse of the figure, but it would vanish almost as quickly as you saw it. The figure is said to wear a gas mask and a camouflage outfit. For 10 years, people would report sightings of what they now call Le Lion. Some witnesses would say that Le Lion was a dark figure and a giant of a monster, and they felt a threatening energy emulate from him. Other witnesses would say Le Lion didn't seem dangerous. He would pick flowers and avoid people, but not dangerous, just creepy as hell. Some people who encountered Le Lion became so scared they vowed never to go back to the forest. Since there was no evidence to back the claim of the existence of Le Lion, many just wrote this off as stories and imaginations running wild. Now enter 2013, when the picture you're seeing was taken. Yes, that is a picture of Le Lion proving its existence. Surprisingly, months later, a gas mask and a camouflage coat was found in the forest, along with a note believed to be from Le Lion. The note basically said he was harmless and disliked being viewed as a monster and that he would end it. Some thought the note was hinting at Le Lion committing suicide, but most likely, the man now deprived of his harmless fun would give up his outings in order for the people to feel safer and stop making him into a monster. The year is 1904 in the state of Virginia, and a bus transporting patients from a Fairfax County mental institution crashes, killing all but 10 patients. A search for the patients gets underway, and 9 out of 10 are found. Not long after the incident, dead bunnies were found hanging from the Colchester overpass, which is often referred to as Bunny Man Bridge. Not too long after the bunnies were found hanging, a corpse of a man was found hanging from the overpass. Now, according to historians, it's impossible for any of this to be true since there were no mental asylums in Fairfax County in the year 1904. Plus, the overpass was built in 1906. In fact, the Bunny Man legend is believed to come from 2 incidents that happened in the 1970s. One of the incidents involved a couple who were returning home from a football game at around midnight. They parked their car on the street as they wanted to visit an uncle who lived across from where they parked. The couple sat in the front seat with the car running when they noticed movement in the back of the car. Seconds later, the front passenger window was broken, and there was what they described as a man in a white suit with long bunny ears standing near the broken window. The man screamed at them about trespassing, saying, "You're on private property, and I have your tag number." The couple decided to get the heck out of there, and while doing so, they discovered a hatchet on the car floor. Construction security guard Paul Phillips approached a man who was standing on the porch of an unfinished home. Phillips said the man was wearing a gray, black, and white bunny costume and was about 20 years old, 5 feet 8 inches tall, and weighed about 175 pounds. The man began chopping at a porch post with a long-handled axe, saying, "You are trespassing. If you come any closer, I'll chop off your head." Phillips reported this to the police, but by the time they got there, the bunny costume wearing man was gone. If you happen to be passing through Virginia and you see someone in a bunny suit, just keep on driving, because it's not the Easter Bunny. And that concludes Unexplained Possibilities, 6 urban legends based off real incidents. Thank you all for watching, and if you have your own urban legends to share, be sure to tell us in the comment section down below. Also, remember to follow Unexplained Possibilities on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and Instagram. And while you're at it, check out thirdeyemystic.com for any occult needs. Thank you all again for watching, and we will be seeing you next time.